Hello to everybody who's ready to be inspired to get up off your ass and figure out something to do. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi everybody, Chris Gethard here. If you don't like an intro, I get it. You're going to want to skip about 13 minutes ahead. Thanks so much. Enjoy the call. Hi everybody, Chris Gethard here, and I'm very, very happy to be bringing you this episode of Beautiful Anonymous. This week's episode is an episode unlike any other we've done in the history of the show in a few different ways. As I've liked to say lately, this is the show where we look at the human condition one anonymous phone call at a time. And today, even more than most days, I feel really lucky to host this show. I will tell you, we recorded the call yesterday, and I did an intro, and the intro was 16 minutes long. I'm going to try to keep this one a lot tighter. The reason it was 16 minutes long was because we recorded it right after we did the phone call, and I was really emotional. And then I realized it's a little bit unfair because the call brought me to that place of emotion. And I think it actually was maybe going to do it a disservice for you to hear that emotion before you heard the call. Whereas if you listen to this call, I wonder if some other people might go on a real emotional trek of their own. Before I tell you about the show, a few pieces of housekeeping. A lot of people know that we have a friend of the show named Charity who first was known to the community because of a call really, I would say, in the pantheon of great calls, Whirlpool Galaxy, and then has done a few follow-up calls. We have mentioned the fact that there's been a documentary about our friend Charity's story, and Charity now is going to be featured on the podcast Radio Lab, which is, of course, one of the great shows out there. And congrats to Charity, and let's support our community members. Check out Charity on Radio Lab. Want to let everybody know that I'm very thankful for people who support the show by signing up at beautifulanonymous.com. You get a lot of stuff there, ad-free episodes, extra time with callers, secret phone numbers, follow-ups with past callers. And if you are hearing this the week it comes out, it's coming out on August 5th, which is a Tuesday. If you're in the New York City and New Jersey area, I'm doing a show at White Eagle Hall August 7th, which is Thursday. And the ticket sales are solid, but not great. And I am certain they're still available when you're hearing this. punchup.live/Chris Gethard if you want to come to the show. Now, let's talk about this week's episode. Man, you can hear me stammering. I'm trying not to get emotional again. I don't want it to be like that 16-minute epic where my emotions got the best of me. A few things about this call. One, it's the first time I remember in a long time, maybe ever, where partway through the call I said to Andrea, I'm just going to turn off the clock. And we did that. It doesn't go much longer than an hour, but there's a few aspects of that, which is one, the caller is older and is telling a lot of stories that are incredibly valuable, but is telling them at a pace and in a style that is unusual for the show. The caller has never heard the show. The caller's granddaughter is a big fan of the show and asked her grandfather to call in. So the caller himself is chronicling his stories and honestly doesn't need me that much. I think I only ask 3 or 4 questions the entire time. I quickly realized I'm lucky at points in the show to be who I am, which is just kind of a really regular dude from New Jersey. I will stand by that till the end of time. And yet sometimes I get to be the one doing for conversation in the modern day what Studs Terkel did for it decades ago, or when this show is at its best, what the Lomax family did for folk music many decades ago, chronicling things that I wish would be chronicled. Our caller has stories from his very young childhood, and those stories dovetail very much into his experience serving in the Vietnam War. His level of recall is incredible. The level of detail, I will warn you, can at times, I would imagine for a lot of people, be a little intense. There's really graphic recollections of harrowing things, tragic things throughout this episode. And I realized pretty quickly, I have to stay out of the way. Now, on that note, I'm going to encourage everyone, if you're a regular listener of the show, the pace and flow of this one, it's really different. Early on in the call, I found that if I just took a breath, closed my eyes, really leaned in and listened, that once I figured out the pace and the tone he was going at and his style, that these stories were captivating and tumbling in all sorts of fascinating directions. So I'll tell you, the first few minutes might seem a little jarring because it's not nearly as conversational as we were used to from the past 9 years of doing the show. That being said, I encourage you, turn up the volume a little louder, take a deep breath, focus a little harder than you do, and when you lock in, I think you'd agree, we're at this point in history where so many of us grew up where the Vietnam War, I mean, it was the defining event for my parents' generation in so many ways. It was that and the Kennedy assassination and civil rights, and those things all tied in together, right? It was a central aspect of the experience of my parents' generation, but I think it's fair to say you don't see as many movies about Vietnam. You don't have as many people reckoning with Vietnam. There's been other things that we reckon with, and I will never say that the Vietnam War is fading from our national memory. I will say it, let's be honest, things like 9/11 have come to define the experience of a new generation and the sort of tragic redefinitions of American society that happen every few generations. I mentioned in last week's intro, I believe, I forget if it was the intro or the content behind the paywall, that I recently rewatched Ken Burns' Civil War and that I've been on a history kick. And they have footage of Civil War veterans when they are in their upper ages. Some people who were very, very young serving in the Civil War. By the time they were elderly, film technology was invented, and you realize, oh, these people were around and a first-person living resource for so many years. And in talking to today's caller, I realized so many veterans of the Vietnam War are still around. And the idea of Vietnam was such a massive influence on so much discourse, dialogue, documentaries and films, music that I grew up with. That is not as much the case anymore, but a lot of the veterans are still here, and they are now elders, and they have short stories to share, and we should be doing everything we can to hear them first person. I'm blown away by this call. I think you will be too. There's also a couple times where he's not a listener to the show. He says his first name. Hope this is okay with the caller and his granddaughter. You don't bleep a great man's name just because it's the arbitrary rule of a podcast. no one, I think, is going to identify him based off his first name. So there's a few rules in this one that we broke, but I'll say we didn't get into the political sides of the Vietnam War. I am not somebody who's particularly interested in carnage and death and destruction. I think that this is an example of, we really do, I think, avoid the political side of the conversation and instead talk about what was the experience like to be a kid back then who had every single aspect of the rest of your life to this day in August of 2025 be redefined by joining a fight for your country. So I will ask in the reactions, understand, I'm not trying to glorify violence, warfare, the military-industrial complex. I think that those buttons will always be pushed for certain people, but I think if you really listen to this whole thing faithfully, you'll see I am honoring our caller throughout, and I don't think he seemed particularly interested in talking about the military machine either. That being said, one thing I'll point out is that he can talk for very long stretches without needing me. But if you listen to the end, all of that builds to a question where his answer is brief. And it is not something that I'm fishing for. It's not anything where I think either of us have been looking to insert personal politics along the way. His answer has brevity and clarity and simplicity. And I think if you listen to this whole thing start to finish, that brevity stands out as a counterpoint to the rest of the pace and flow of this, where it's really, really profound. I'm proud of this one. I find myself in some ways so inspired, and in some ways sitting here going, how can we get more like this? How can we get more that have a historical bent, while also recognizing that part of the foundation of this show is that we effectively do go fishing for conversations, and we don't know what we're going to get, and we don't pre-plan, and we don't go out and field produce and do pre-interviews, and that's part of the joy, is that if we're not casting it in different directions, that the surprise of getting a call that's outside the normal realm of things does not feel as surprising. So I have to also remind myself that sometimes what you need is a granddaughter who's a fan of the show, who turns around and says to her grandfather, "You have stories, and I am a fan of a thing that would be a really great place to catalog those stories." And I am really thankful that this one happened. You can still hear there's been some emotion in here, but I promise you it's very, very measured compared to the other intro I recorded. We got it down from 16 minutes to 13 minutes, which is an improvement. I was like, I can do a tight 5. I couldn't. There's so much to say about this one. Turn up the volume, shut your eyes, lock into our caller's rhythm, speaking style, pace, flow. You will be rewarded for it, and you will hear the first person account of many aspects of a life that I think represents a piece of our country's living history that we would be very well served to not lose touch with, especially right now. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hi.
Yes, who am I talking to? Is this Chris?
This is Chris, yes. Thank you so much.
My name is, do I need to give my name?
No, you're supposed to stay anonymous. I'm taking it you're not a regular listener to the show.
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling to say a few things about my life, experiences that I had. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I lost both my legs and my left arm. I broke the joint in Vietnam back in '69, and I'd taken care of my granddaughter as she was born, my wife and I. And as she was growing up, she started asking questions and got curious about some of the things in my life, and I told her, and she found me interesting enough to want me to call you and share the stories with you. And so I'm doing it for her, mainly. Uh, she's a wonderful girl. She's 26 years old now, and I want to make her proud. She thinks very much of me, and so this is what I want to do. Do you want me to just keep on going?
Well, I wanna make sure it sounded. Am I hearing right? Did you say you lost your legs and an arm serving?
I lost both my legs above the knee, and my left arm above the elbow, and I got multiple shrapnel wounds throughout my face and my torso.
And this was
this
serving
was
in
back
Vietnam?
in '69.
Wow.
Vietnam. I was out there just south of Da Nang, in a little place called Dilac, a province of Dilac. And thank God, because of him, I'm still here. I came back, healed and got married, had a daughter and a granddaughter. And to this day, we're still together, and my daughter is 55 years old, and I'm going on 56 of a marriage. We'll be celebrating our wedding anniversary on August 16th. And my granddaughter, she's a very fan of yours. She hears your show all the time. And so she wanted me to share these stories with you.
I'm so grateful she put us in touch. And before we go any further, I just have to say, and I know this is probably trite, and I know this might feel like a formality, but I really mean it. You sacrificed so much for your country and for the rest of us. And I just want to say thank you for that sacrifice. That's the first thing I need to get out there. I get to sit here and have this podcast where I say whatever I feel like. And the reason I have free speech is because of other people's sacrifice. And I am very aware of that. So sincerely, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
There's so many questions coming to mind. I can ask them, or if there's things you want to get out there, I can follow your lead. You let me know.
That's basically what my granddaughter wanted me to say is to share my story, what happened to me in Vietnam that day.
Yeah.
And then what I want to say is that she was growing up. She's always been very curious. She was born with a very mature point of view, character, whatever you want to call it. And I started sharing some stories with her since I was, when she was little, very little, and she was able to start talking and understanding. And I told her some of the stories that I had when I was young. Some of they're kind of traumatic, like I almost didn't make it past, I can't really remember. I was 2 years old or 3 years old, but I swallowed a marble, one of those boulders, when I was a kid, and it blocked my airway. And I was born in Mexico, so I was over there. They tried to get my breathing that marble would come down my throat so I could breathe again. And my grandmother saved my life. She always wore kept a feather, chicken feather, on her front entrance by the doorway in case of some emergency that way. And I was, really suffering. I couldn't breathe, and so anyway, it got to the point where they felt that they couldn't do anything. That feather wasn't there. My mom cleaning the house threw the feather away. Never thought that we would need it. And when this happened to me, my grandmother would stick her finger down my throat, try to push that marble down, and I got to the point where I wasn't feeling any pain anymore. I wasn't. I could see the people all around me. They were looking at me, and I felt like I was under the pool, like when in the evening when you under the water, the chlorine gets in your eyes. You could see like a halo of light kind of around. And I'm sitting down I'm laying down on the table over there, in Mexico. That back then, I guess there was no. They didn't treat it disease like they do here. The people that are dying are dead. Right there, you die, they bury you right away. And they had me laid out on the table, white sheets and everything, and people were bringing flowers already. And my mom was crying, my aunt, and they were just giving up on me. They thought that was it for me. And my grandmother started crying, picked me up again, and said, "No, it's not possible." Because I remember this. As young as I was, I could remember those words, exact words. "No, this ain't possible. You can't." In Spanish, no se va a morir. He's not going to die right now. And so she yelled at the people that were looking. It was a small house, and actually it was a one-bedroom home. And people were through the window and the doorway and looking at me inside the house. And she yelled at them and said, "Don't be a bunch of looky-loos. Just go out and find me a feather." And this one little girl came out back running, and she says, "I got one, but it's broken. It's dirty." My grandmother said, "Never mind, just give it to me." She took it, and she started pushing it down my throat. My mom was pushing her back and said, "Leave him alone. Don't be torturing my son anymore. Let him go." And my grandmother said, "No, it's not possible. It's not possible for him to die so young." And so all of a sudden, I guess she pushed a marble down my throat so it cleared my airways. And then all of a sudden, I took a deep breath and I started crying. I felt pain come back. And, they put me on a diet of a lot of bananas so I can pass that marble. But that was my first experience that I had as far as close to death, way close to death. And in Vietnam, of course, I had a few. I was only there in country for 4 months. And I was sniped at twice. The first 15 days I was on one operation. And then I was sniped out again in China Beach. And then I had a few other close calls. And so she hears those stories, and she thinks very highly of me, and she makes me feel very proud. And she wants me to share the stories with you.
They're incredible stories. You've had a lot of near-death experiences, huh?
I had a few. Mm-hmm. The thing is that pardon me?
Oh no, please! I do not want to interrupt you, sir.
Oh.
Ever.
Okay. No, the thing is that she had problems with her knees as a baby. Her knees would dislocate. And at 8 years old, we realized that she was getting very tired. She couldn't walk too far. She couldn't do too much of anything. And so when something was wrong, we took her to, her mother took her to get checked out and so on. And they found a curvature in her spine. And so she had those operations on her knees and her back. They corrected that also. That was a 7-hour operation. And she drew from me. She got strength from my stories. I had a few operations after that myself, and throughout the years, and, one of my I lost my hearing completely on my left side back in 2018, and that was a 5-hour operation, and I drew the strength from her because I was a young girl, young baby, so young and having to go through that. I felt very proud of her too, and I drew strength from that. So we draw strength from each other, and it makes me very proud to be her grandfather. Like I said, I've been married 56 years in come August the 16th.
Congratulations.
And, I got a small family. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my daughter, well, then she'll be 50, 55 already. And we, it's just my wife, my daughter, and granddaughter, my son-in-law, but it's a very tight family. We love each other, and we're here for each other, support each other in any way we can.
It's incredible. It's incredible. You must be so proud of your family.
Yes, I am. I'm very proud of them. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be. I mean, they supported me a lot. Because when I came back from Vietnam, being in the hospital, well, first of all, I healed from all that. And that was very rough. It seems like it was going to be forever. But then I got hurt on April the 27th. By August the 16th, I was getting married. They gave me a 15-day leave from the hospital, Naval Hospital, to get married. And of course, I took 25 days. I almost got court-martial for going AWOL.
Wait, can I just want to make sure I've got the timeline right. So you served, and when you lost your limbs, it was only a few months after that you took leave to get married?
Yes, things were happening too fast. My friend William and I joined the Marine Corps together, but he had to leave first. He went first before me.
So you enlisted. You weren't drafted.
No, we enlisted. We're Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And I never saw him after he left here in the United States. We went to Camp Pendleton to see him off. And after that, we never got in touch with each other. He was up in Braintree. And I got wounded in April the 27th. He never knew what happened to me. I never wanted to tell him. And his parents didn't want me to tell him because he was a short-timer. He was getting ready to come home. So in June the 5th, he was going to be pulled out and get his papers processed from the bush. And June the 3rd, mortar round landed smack on him and killed him instantly.
Oh, man.
And so I was in the hospital at the time, over here in Oakland. And when we got the news, it was very hard. You know, the Red Cross got me a uniform and so on, and put me on a plane to come home. for his funeral. And after that, my wife and I, we decided to get married. We were engaged. We weren't married yet. And she agreed because I told her I wasn't sure what might happen. I said, you love me and you want to marry me, now's the time, because if you want to. I said, because there's a lot of things happening. My wounds can get infected, and because I had several infections, and she agreed. She wanted to get married, and I had told her, I said, you don't feel obligated. And so my mom and dad went to go see me up there in Oakland at the Naval Hospital, and she was sitting down by the window. I was on the 7th floor looking out, and she had this kind of faraway look in her face. And I told my mom and dad, they would excuse us, so they would step outside. I had to talk to Rita, my wife, and my fiance then. And I told her, it looks like you're having trouble with this. You've got that faraway look. Like if you walk away right now, I won't hold it against you. It's just don't feel bad. And she turned around and looked at me and she said, what the hell are you talking about, stupid? She goes, I'm just thinking that I don't know where to hug you or where to kiss you or where to touch you. Because I was all full of bandages. I was swollen and my face was swollen. I had bandages all over because that landmine really did a number on me. And so, she made me laugh because she came out just like that, and she said she had no, she wasn't thinking twice about marrying me or leaving me or anything. She was just thinking about how can I touch you, how can I hug you, kiss you? You're full of bandages. So anyway, we got married on August 16th. They gave me a leave, 15-day leave. And Senor Pico up in San Francisco gave me a reception for 50 people, first class. And that was real nice. And so anyway, we buried my friend and we got married, and shortly after that, my daughter also was born July the 22nd. And she's always loved me very much since she was born. I'm here at home most of the time, so I raised her, played with her, gave her all the love that I could. She gave me, to this day, she still loves me very much. And unfortunately, back then, I used to drink a lot. When I was in the hospital, things were okay. I was healing. We had all the other veterans that were there. We were okay. We would eat at the cafeteria, or they bring our meals up to the room. But once I was released, I was transferred to Long Beach. But things were different. Now I had to face life like everybody else, go shopping, go to the movies or amusement parks, or just do whatever other people do. And I found that very hard to do. And so my wife was there for me, and my daughter was there with me, and I found that drinking helped me get along better. So a lot of times I was drunk by date, and I would sleep. Let's see, how would I put that? I would sleep at daytime, and I was up all night. wife would get up and go to work. I'd be up there with her. I have coffee with her. And then I go back to sleep. I'd having a small bottle of Seacom 7s and a 6-pack of beer and go back to sleep. And I would be up when she got home from work. And this went on for a while. Then when my daughter was born, I had responsibilities, and but she was always there for me. My granddaughter was a little different. She was very lovable and everything, but she helped me to change a lot. She helped me a lot in the sense, that my drinking stopped a lot. In fact, I don't drink any right now. And by my parties, we go to gatherings, barbecues, or whatever. I was always there until the party was over, until I got drunk. And my daughter would say that she was tired, that it was time for her to go, and I would tell her to go lie down on the sofa or something until we're ready to go. With my granddaughter, she just takes a look at me, and she was so young she couldn't talk yet. She would just look at me and say, I would ask her, "Are you ready to go?" And she would say, her favorite word was "yeah." And I said, "Yeah." And all she had to do was just shake her head and go, "Done." And I said, "Okay, let's go." So she made me change a lot. And when one time when we were on the freeway, we were taking my daughter to a new job in L.A., and she wanted to go see where it was at before she started. She would be familiar with the area and so on. My granddaughter and I were sitting in the back of my van. I had a 56 Ford van, and my wife was driving, and my daughter was in front of them. So they're talking, and my granddaughter, we're listening to some of my oldies. I'm talking to her about them and so on. And somewhere in the conversation, she told me she was just learning how to talk, and she was starting to make herself clear a little bit. But what was interesting is that she looks at me and she tells me in her own little way, "I was sent here to take care of you." And that really touched me a lot. Because I don't know where she got that from. And she couldn't, she told me that, and she made herself I understood her, but she couldn't talk real good yet. She was about 2.5 years old, or 2 years old, something like that. And I believe that she was heaven sent to help me, or else who knows, I probably wouldn't be around here right now at this age. But this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Not very good at speaking, public speaking or anything, but I had to do this for her because she asked me to. And I'll leave it right there.
And we're going to pause here. This show does survive because we are supported by advertisers. I am loath to cut to advertisements in the middle of a story like this one, but thanks to the advertisers who support our show, because important stories like this survive because of them. We're going to hear some ads. We'll be right back. Wow, it can be hard to quiet your mind at night. And I suffer from this greatly. I don't sleep well, everybody. I really, historically, do not. I've got a to-do list where every item is never checked off. I'm sitting here going through the calendar for tomorrow. There's all sorts of scheduling. There's so many reasons to have your mind racing at night. You need help with the sleep experience. This is not an exaggeration. Boll and Branch can help you. Boll and Branch sheets can help you truly unwind with a softness so extraordinary your whole body relaxes into sleep. Boll and Branch's signature sheets are made free from toxins with the finest 100% organic cotton. They feel buttery soft to start out. I mean, out of the package, they feel great. And every wash, they get softer and softer. They come with a 30-night worry-free guarantee, and they are ethically crafted by expert artisans that earn fair wages. And that's an incredible thing to think about right now. That company should be proud to shout that to the hilltops, making sure things are done in an ethical manner. It's huge. Let's support the companies doing things the right way. I sleep on Boll and Branch sheets. I also have the waffle blanket. They are legitimately everything that they claim to be. Really great stuff. Just really great quality product. I've said it so many times. That waffle blanket in particular, I legitimately don't understand how when I sleep under it in the winter, it provides me so much warmth, and yet I leave it out in the summer and it breathes and I don't feel like I'm sweating through my clothes. It's an incredible blanket. And I don't feel silly saying that. I noticed the quality right away, that this was a level up from other sheets that I've had. And it is wild. I remember when I first read the ad copy that was like, they get softer with every wash. I was like, what does that even mean? And then guess what? You wash these sheets and they just keep getting softer. It's wild. Feel the difference an extraordinary night's sleep can make with Boll and Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/beautiful. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/beautiful. You'll save 15% and unlock free shipping. Exclusions apply. This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack sponsor. IQ Bar is the better-for-you plant protein-based snack made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. IQ Bar's plant protein bars are packed with high-quality ingredients to help keep you physically and mentally fit. IQ Bar is totally free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial sweeteners for a natural anytime snack. Try any of the 9 delicious flavors, including mint chocolate chip, chocolate sea salt, banana nut, toasted coconut chip, lemon blueberry, and peanut butter chip. There's over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting. More people than ever are starting their days on the right foot with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars. Let's not forget the IQ hydration mix, which I have every day. Let's not forget the mushroom coffee, which my wife Hallie is completely obsessed with. I have to tell you that the bars legitimately taste good. I throw a few in my bag, so I always have them if I'm on the run. I have them for breakfast. They are one of the most reliable grab-and-go meal replacements I've ever had. To know that I'm as busy as I am between work stuff, life stuff, kid stuff, family stuff, and that I have this option where I go, I know that if I need to kick my day off right, and I'm being pulled in 10 different directions, grab an IQ bar. It tastes good. Gets the day kicked off where I know it's nutritious. I'm getting all the energy pointed in the right direction. And I'm not starting my day off feeling like I'm falling back asleep because I just went real hard at big piles of unhealthy stuff. They're great. Really, really great. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products. Plus, get free shipping. To get your 20% off, text BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Text BEAUTIFUL to 64000. That's BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Thanks again to our advertisers. And now let's get back to one of my favorite conversations I've ever been able to have.
I'll leave it right there.
It's really, I mean, your stories are incredible. Your memory is incredible. And hearing how your relationship with your wife, with your daughter, and especially with your granddaughter led to so much healing and positivity for you, it's really incredible. These are really incredible stories. I thank you for sharing them with us.
I was going to say that growing up, that was a mean story, but swallowing that marble, a bunch of kids were playing on this fence line, this little hill, and they were rolling. They would get an empty can and put a marble in there, and then they get together and have races with it. They would roll the can down, and the one that would keep the marble in its can the longest was the winner. And they wouldn't let me play because I was too young. So I went and got a can. My can was full, and I had that boulder, and I rolled it down. And of course, my marble wouldn't stay in the can because it was sealed. It wasn't empty. But I had the marble in my hand, and it rolled, and the heaviness of that can went faster than all the other cans, and I won, and that's why I got excited. I put the marble in my mouth, and I got excited, and I wanted to yell and say I won. And that's when it went down my throat. I went to tell my mom, try to talk to her and tell her to help me. She was breastfeeding at the time with my younger brother. And I was patting her on the back, and she wouldn't pay attention to me. She would tell me, listen to me. She goes, I'm feeding your brother. You're going to go away. And so I got in front of her to show her that I couldn't breathe. And she just kind of like dropped my brother on the floor and grabbed me by the shoulders and started hitting me in the back. And my grandmother came, they turned me upside down, and they were hitting me in my feet to see if I could get that marble loose. And like I said, I was near death on that one. I got to where I couldn't. There was no doctors nearby, no clinics or anything. And so they had already laid out the table with the cloth, and the neighbors were bringing flowers and so on. But my grandmother never gave up on me. And so besides that, she just got interested with that and other stories. So I would tell her little stories. And I was 5 years old when parents immigrated to the United States. And so the stories that I tell her are from 5 and under. And they're all pretty much stories that I remember when I was young, 2, 3 years old, because they were kind of traumatic.
Yeah.
There was one story where this dog, a big black dog, was running up down the street. There was this short, fat man wearing khakis and a long sleeve shirt, and he came around the corner running, yelling, everybody inside, lock your doors. Perro de la rabia, which means, dog with rabies. And I was sitting down on the floor in front of my house, playing with the dirt. I had a small puppy, a small dog. And I saw the man running, yelling that, and I was just looking, and I remember those words exactly. And I heard my grandmother and my mom, my aunt. My aunt was outside in the back, hanging clothes. My mom was kind of like working on the garden. They had their own little garden on the side of the house. And when they heard that, they all went in the house and shut the shutters. There was no screens back there or glass things. They just had shutters on the one window that they had, and closed the door. And I looked back and I saw that. And all this happened real fast. And all of a sudden I hear the shutters on the window open up again, and they yelled out, "Hey, Ramoncito!" They realized they left me out there, sitting down in the front. And there was no grass or anything. Everything was just real loose, sandy soil. And as the man ran by, he looked at me, and he never stopped to help. He just ran because he went into his house and shut the door. And right behind him was this big black dog chasing him. Well, when the dog came around the corner there and saw me, it came right towards me. And it jumped up in the air to attack me. And I don't remember yelling, screaming, or anything. I was just looking at him as he was coming. He was on the air coming towards me. And my little dog started barking at him. And he turned his head to the left, looked at my dog, turned his body, and attacked my dog instead, mauled it. And as he was mauling my little dog, all of a sudden I felt like I flew up in the air. Well, I guess one of my aunt or my mom, somebody grabbed me and picked me up and took me inside the house. And later on that evening, they had dug a real large pit on the ground, and they were shooting chickens. Killing chickens and dogs. And I remember there was a cow or two that the dog had bit, so they were doing away with these animals so that I guess they wouldn't get contagious. And then they would put white powder over them as they were burying it. And I remember all those little things like that. And she always looked very interested in that. And she wants to be a writer, so she writes little stories that I tell her for future use. And then when I got to Vietnam, when I tell her about what happened to me, when she got curious, and so I'm telling you, I told her my story about how this happened also, and she just wanted me to share this with you.
Yeah.
Because she felt that maybe, she feels that other people should hear it also.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I would love to know what it was like for you when you ultimately came back from Vietnam, because there's been so many movies, so many stories about Vietnam veterans, and specifically veterans who were wounded and how rough the experience was like. And I'm wondering what your real experience was like, because as I talk to you, I've come to realize I've read a lot about what it was like for veterans. I've seen movies about wounded veterans and how the country treated them, but this is my first experience in my lifetime to actually be able to talk to someone who lived that experience and see what it was like, not in movie form or someone else telling me, but first person.
Well, it was rough. It was rough. I went to a boot camp in San Diego and in Camp Pendleton. I went through my ITR training and so on. I got to Vietnam in 69, January of 69. And Vietnam, the movies that you've seen, like the ones I relate to more, like Platoon and Full Metal Jacket. Even though Full Metal Jacket is a Marine Corps, right, with the Marine Corps in it, I would relate more to the other one. What was it? I said, I'm starting to lose my thoughts. Because that was Army, but I was more out in the jungles, out in the rice paddies, where Full Metal Jacket is more fighting, city fighting. But it was very rough. It was, the mosquitoes, climbing the high terrain and just dodging bullets and so on. But the thing is that coming back, when I stepped on the landmine, that was a very bad experience for me, because we were supposed to go out on a routine patrol, which is about 4 hours, 4 checkpoints. And we get to checkpoint 1 to checkpoint 2. Things looked real shady. There was a lot of things that made us uncomfortable. I was a squad leader at the time, and I had just gotten the squad too. I became the squad leader about 2 weeks before that. And we found this area that as you're walking straight ahead, there's a bamboo fence that goes across in front of us. with a real small hole, and we were too big to really crawl through there. We would get stuck with our backpacks and so on. And we don't know if there was a machine gun nest on the other side or what. And so we couldn't go on the right. We had rice paddies on the right. We looked over to the left, and there was a little brick house that was all bombarded. And behind us, there were some farmers, and that we had passed by. And we wanted a chance going back, because a lot of times back then we were told that farmers are also VC. And sometimes when they see you pass by, they put booby traps so that when you go back, you step on a booby trap. So anyway, I called in for an interpreter, because there was a sign way out there where that building was bombarded. And it was weird, because it had the alphabet, the American alphabet, English alphabet, but I couldn't make out what it said. And I called in for an interpreter, and the interpreter was out on patrol with somebody else. And they told me to wait about 20 minutes, that they would get back to me. In the meantime, they told me to set up a perimeter and get my location, because I didn't have a location yet. And so I asked for a volunteer. I got this one Marine that he just ran out there and grabbed the sign and ran back with it. And I got on his case. I told him, "What the hell are you doing that for?" I said, "I'm asking for a volunteer, but you got to be cautious." I said, "That sign is telling us something." And he got upset at me because I got on his case. And so anyway, I set up my perimeter, and everybody's trading off their pound cake for crackers or their cigarettes. They're switching off on their sea rations. And they're walking around, and I told them to settle down. I said, "Settle down, stop moving around so much, because we're in a hot area here. There's something wrong." I felt it. I could feel it in my bones. There was something wrong. And so they were all laughing. I said, "Oh, you're just uptight. Just take it easy." Because they figured, I just got to squat. And so they figured, you're nervous, just like you're like this. Just take it easy. And so anyway, I told them, just settle down a little bit. Don't be walking around so much. And I took off my flak jacket. And thank God that I did. I had 2 grenades in each pocket, right and left. I took off my flak jacket. I put it down, my helmet, my magazines, and my rifle. And all I had was my canteens and the map and the compass. Looking around, I already had a map. On the map, I had a asthma 22 asthma across the map, but I couldn't find another location. That's where the 2 landmarks cross. It's like a little X. You give that grid coordinates, and that's where you're at. And I couldn't find another location. But I had seen this place that we passed by earlier, a tower, and I knew that there was a camp right there, but I couldn't see it from where I was at. And so anyway, as I have the map and the compass, and the guys are eating their sea rations in a circle, I'm in the middle. I'm supposed to be in the safest spot. I turn around to look back to see if I could find another landmark, a hill or something that I can get on the map. And I felt my right foot sink into the ground, like I had stepped on a cushion or something. It felt kind of weird. And then instantly I knew that something was wrong. So I looked down immediately. When I looked down, I could see a little black of mushroom of smoke, black smoke coming out from the right side of my boot. And as I'm looking, another mushroom is building up. It went like once, twice, and before I went through another mushroom of smoke. I threw myself the opposite way as far as as far as I could to get away from there. But everything happened so fast. The explosion had already happened. I had already shut out the landmine.
We're going to pause there. We've got a few more ads. We'll be right back. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off your data. This is not a good thing. Your data is a commodity, and there's people out there trying to make money off of it. It is wild. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. Think about that. It is extraordinarily easy for them to do so. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, all sorts of stuff. But now there's a very simple way to protect your privacy with Delete Me. I am a Delete Me customer. I've been using them for years now. I can't stress enough that I feel like my family is safer because Delete Me has our back. Delete Me isn't a one-time thing. They give you these recurring, you get them a few times a year. Every few months, you'll get this report, and you open it up, and it shows you, here's all the sites where your data was listed. We removed them from all those sites. Here's ones that tried to put it back. We removed them again. And after a few cycles, I started getting where it was just, now it's showing up on 0 of the sites. I said, this is incredible. This really works. I feel like my wife, my son, myself are safer because our data is protected. Because as someone who lives publicly, unfortunately, I have had some situations where I feel like boundaries have been crossed, and I need that health, that safety, that security, and Delete Me really, really does what they do well. I can vouch for that personally. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners, you'll get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Use the promo code beautiful at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Enter the code beautiful at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Code is beautiful. If you're running a business right now, it is hard, and it's only getting harder every day, right? There's tight budgets, there's hiring freezes, economic uncertainty, right? There's things shifting day by day, regulations changing, things swinging in different directions. It's really wild. It's really, really hard to be running a business right now. But good news, Upwork is here and they got your back. Upwork helps small businesses do more with less. We can be totally honest. There's tariffs, there's budget cuts, there's rising food prices. There's all sorts of things affecting the bottom line, the budgeting, the day-to-day navigation of your business. Upwork is the hiring platform designed for the modern playbook, where you can find, hire, and pay expert freelancers who can deliver results from day one. Perfect for businesses on tight budgets, fast timelines, and who have zero room forever. Companies at every stage are turning to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in the way they staff key projects and initiatives. You can access a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, admin support, marketing, and more. Freelancers on Upwork cost way less than hiring full-time. Going through a staffing agency, Upwork's convenient, cost-effective, and transparent. There's no subscriptions, no upfront fees. You only pay when you hire. You're posting a job, that's free. Fast, simple. It's a great service. If you've never tried Upwork, now is the perfect time because they're giving our listeners a $200 credit after spending $1,000 in your first 30 days. That's $200 you can put towards your next freelancer. Design help, AI automation, admin support, marketing, whatever your business needs. Visit upwork.com/save right now for this great offer. That is upwork.com/save to get a $200 credit to put towards your next freelancer to help grow your business. That's upwork.com/SAVE. Upwork.com/save. Don't wait. This offer is valid June 24th through August 5th, 2025. Thanks again to all the advertisers who support stories like this. Now let's finish off the phone call.
And so I was flying in the air. I landed on the ground. I bounced a couple of times, I remember that. And I ended up on my stomach. And I was trying to yell incoming. Your brain gets a little mixed up. I'm trying to yell incoming, take cover, and nothing would come out of my mouth. And as I try to get up, I would keep falling over to my left. And this happened a couple of times. So with my right arm, I pushed myself as hard as I could. I landed on my back. And there was a big silence. There was a big silence, and a real mean ringing in my ears, and a real heavy numbness throughout my body. But when I pushed myself with my right arm as hard as I could, I landed on my back. My left arm was dislocated at the elbow, and it just came down and smacked me in the face. And I looked at it, and it was moving really awkward because there was a nerve that was keeping it together. There was a nerve from the wrist that goes to the back of your arm. Two of my fingers were missing, and I had a hole through my hand about the size of a quarter. And most of the skin, the meat, everything was gone, except for that one nerve that was holding my arm together. And as I'm looking at that, I'm already horrified looking at that. I see something moving in my eyes and peripheral vision. I could see something else moving. I looked down, and my leg's doing the same thing. The boots gone, everything, the skin. It's just the bones, and the blast was so strong that it cleaned out the tissue. Not even a speck of blood was on the bone or anything. And again, the only thing that was holding my leg together was a nerve that from your heel that runs to your leg, and that's how I was holding it together. My right leg was gone; it was just gone. And so that's when I got terrified. I started screaming. I started yelling and trying to run on my back, and there's no way I could run. And it often bothered me. Why was I acting like that? I mean, I know I couldn't run. But, as time goes by, you think about it. And I think what I was trying to do is run away from death. Because I didn't want to die. I felt I was too young still. That I had my whole life ahead of me. And the corpsman, all of a sudden, noise came back. Everything, you hear the guy screaming, and the corpsman jumps on me and gets everybody's bandages and starts putting food the best he could. And I'm screaming, and the corpsman's telling me, "Settle down, Mota, settle down." Says you're hurting yourself, and all I want to do is just get away from there. Finally, this young Marine, more about the same age, but I say young because I've been there 4 months. This guy just came in, and one of them walks over to me and he tells me, "Mota, what are you going to do?" He says, "You got to settle down. What's going to happen to us?" And when he said that, he made me realize that, yeah, you're right. It's not about me. It's about you guys. I gotta get you back home. So I turn around, I look up, and I see this guy, other Marine. He's standing there just kind of staring away, again with a faraway look also. Like, I guess he was just waiting for me to bleed out, to die. Because he was there a month before me. He got there in December, and he saw a lot of action. And so I seen that too. In February, we saw one Marine step on a landmine, and when he landed on the ground, from his waist down, he was gone. and he was alive. He told the corpsman, "Am I going to be all right? Am I going to be all right?" And the corpsman said, "Yeah, you're going to be fine." But the corpsman was sitting on his chest so that he wouldn't see himself, because there was nothing left from the waist down. And it was just a matter of seconds, for him to bleed out, and he was gone. So I figured this other Marine, that's what he was thinking, just a matter of time before I bleed out. And so I looked at him and I told him, I don't want to mention his name, but I told him, get the map and find the map and the compass the best way I could, because I had this big old piece of shrapnel that hit me in the throat, and I had a real raspy voice. And he looks down at me also with a very surprised look, and he says, "Oh, yeah, I want to hold on." And so he, after he went looking around, and he found the map and the compass, and they were okay. They weren't the map is made out of paper. The compass has glass in it. It didn't shatter, didn't break. The side was I was burnt all the way up to my head. My mustache was all burned. My left side of my face was black. My right arm was all burnt. And so I told him, get a couple of guys with you, get out there in the rice paddies and get the cap unit that we saw back there, cross it with the 22 asthma that I have, and that's my location. Get me a chopper in here. And so I helped call in my medevac. It seemed like forever. I don't know how long it took for the chopper to get there, but my body started kind of like cooling off, and I started shaking, and I started seeing red, orange in my vision. I started losing my vision, and that wouldn't last very long. That happened a couple of times, and at that moment, I thought I was going to die. So I just said the Our Father real fast, and Hail Mary, and I spoke to God. I spoke to my Lord. I said, my life is in your hands. You do with me whatever you think is right. And I was praying that I wouldn't die. And but the helicopter landed out there, the medevac, and the rice paddies. And they don't stay out there too long because they don't want to get shot down either. So the machine gunner, the doorman, opens out the door and he yells out, "Come on, hurry up, get him out here." And so we had 6 guys, but only 5 grabbed the poncho. And one of them didn't want to even look at me. And I tell him, we laughed together, and we had a lot of laughs together, and we sang together. "Why don't you give me a freaking hand, please?" And he said, "Okay, what? Okay." He reached back and he grabbed that corner of the poncho, and they started walking down towards the rice paddies. Well, going down the rice paddies, he slipped and he went down into the water. And of course, he took the poncho with him, and everybody went down. And I rolled off the poncho into the rice paddies, and I was underwater. I landed facing up because I could see the water must have just been an inch or two, a couple of inches above me. I was underwater that deep. I could hear the machine gunner yell, "Hurry up, pick him up, get him up off of there." And I turned my head where I heard the noise, and I saw him jump out of the chopper, and he ran over there, and he took charge. He grabbed me by the shoulders, and he told this one guy, "You grab his left arm, you grab his left leg." And this other guy grabbed the poncho, and he was going to extend it. And he said, "The hell of the poncho, never mind the poncho." So they just picked me up that way, and they carried me into the chopper. And the corpsman jumped in with me, and then they flew off. And I was towards the back of the chopper, kind of like in the sitting position, and the corpsman kept slapping me in the face, trying to keep me awake. "Come on, stay awake, stay with us." And I remember the co-pilot turned around. He looked at the doc and he told him, "Hey, doc, let him go. Let him go. He's gone." I couldn't see anything. I had my eyes closed, but I could hear what was going around me. And when I heard that, I knew that what he was saying. Doc, let him go. He's dead. So I opened up my eyes as hard as I could because it was hard waking up. It was like waking up from a real bad nightmare where you want to get up, wake up, but you can't. You're having a hard time. You're struggling. But I woke up and I looked at him straight in the eye. We made eye-to-eye contact. And he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, shit. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry." Turned around. And, but I thank him for that because I was feeling very comfortable. I wasn't feeling any pain at all anymore. And I didn't want to come back. I didn't want to wake up when the corpsman was slapping me in the face and calling to me. I didn't want to. I wanted to stay there because I felt no pain anymore. I felt a lot of comfort. But when the co-pilot said that, I realized that he was telling them, he's gone, he's dead. Leave him alone now. And that made me wake up. And so we flew off, and they took me to this hospital ship off at Da Nang, sanctuary. And I guess I must have knocked out again because I came to again as the chopper was landing. And there was nurses and doctors. They were waiting for me to take me into the operating room. And one of them was asking me a lot of questions. What's your name? Who are you with? And what's your serial number? And who do you want us to notify? Who don't you want us to notify? And I gave him all that information. And I asked for a chaplain. I said, I wanted them to know who I was so they can identify me. But at the same time, I asked for a Catholic chaplain because all those voices and the people that were there started turning into shadows, and I could feel that I was passing out again. And I didn't know if I was just going to pass out or die. So I wanted a Catholic chaplain to give me my last. So when I said I need a Catholic chaplain, somebody came by and said, I'm here. And he put his ear to my mouth as I was talking to him, and then I passed out. And they told me that I came to, I really don't know, I was out, but they told me that I came to about 8 days later or something. I don't know, it sounds like a long time to be under. But I woke up one morning. Well, it was, I really don't know the time because I was just laying there in the hospital ship and everybody was sleeping. It's real quiet. And I had this Navy guy on my right side. And he was supposed to be there to wait for me to wake up so that I wouldn't get into hysterics or whatever. So anyway, when I opened up my eyes, I could feel my legs and my toes, my fingernails. I felt like I was there barefooted, and I could feel my left hand. I felt everything, my fingernails, everything. And so I said to myself, is it possible that they saved my limbs? I saw myself. I know what I look like, and it's not possible. But I could feel everything. So I picked up my head, and when I picked up my head, my stumps came up. And oh shit, I said, I knew it. And that movement woke him up because he was sitting there, but he was asleep. He got up. He says, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Relax. Don't worry. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine." And I just looked at him and I told him, "I'm fine. I'm all right. Sit down. Go back to sleep." And I wasn't really okay. I mean, I didn't go into hysterics or anything because I had already seen myself. I knew what had happened, but I was just hoping that somehow they had saved my limbs. But just a wish that I guess everybody has that goes through something that way. And, I was crying silently. And after that, I just started to recuperate. I started getting better and better. I said, this is I got wounded in April the 27th. In June, I went home to be at there for my friend's funeral. In August, I got married. So it seemed like those wounds were taking forever to heal, but when you look back now, I healed pretty fast. The only thing is that when I went to my friend's funeral, I still had some bandages on my left side because one of the wounds there, the shrapnel hit, and you could see my ribs, and that was healing from the inside out. But thank God, none of that shrapnel entered and damaged my intestinal tract or my stomach or anything. So I'm grateful to God for that. And first of all, I should say that it's because of God, my Lord, that I'm still here. And after that, it just gets real hard because once you're out in civilian life, just going out to the market or just going out to a park or an amusement park or just an everyday thing, it's a very hard thing to do. I used to wear my prostheses all the time, my legs and my arm, my left arm. I had a hand on there. I used to wear my shirt put up all the way to the top because that shrapnel that hit me in the neck started growing. Then I realized that I grew keloids. That's why it just kept growing and growing. And then on my face, on my left side, I had a few scars too, and those kept growing. And they fused together and created one big ugly scar there. And those things are called keloids. And so I went through life with a keloid in my face. And that's what made it even hard, because when you go into a restaurant to eat, people are talking, they're going about their business and everything, enjoying lunch, dinner, whatever it is. And then I come in, and there's like a silence. And it takes a few moments before things get back to normal. And I always tried to show strength. I didn't try to, I wouldn't shy away from it or make anybody feel sorry for me or whatever. I try to talk as normal as I could and act normal. And I think that helped. But deep inside, I did feel very awkward. And this last operation that I had in 2018, and my left ear, I lost the hearing from my left side completely. But that operation, they removed that scar again, and to this day, it hasn't come back. Thank God. And that's about it.
It is really so incredible to talk to you. Can I ask you one more question? And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but hearing your stories, first of all, your level of memory is incredible. Your dedication to family, incredible. The way you've detailed how your family and God have gotten you through so many moments where you were close to death, incredible. Mm-hmm. I am left sitting here thinking about how in current times there are a lot of people who I think really feel like America has lost its way. And there's people on all ends of the political spectrum really feeling that. It is phrased in many different ways, but I sit here, I go, sometimes I think one of the only things uniting Americans on the left and right is that both of them seem really, really dissatisfied with where America is at. And it's very sobering for me to sit here and hear your story and not feel like we are all letting you down. That all of us taking what we have for granted in this country. Or all of us all of us settling for seeing America head to a place that we feel is a betrayal of what America is. I'm sitting here and I'm going, I feel like we're all forgetting that you're still alive. And a lot of, say what you will about Vietnam and its purpose and the political, like you were a boy who went and lost 3 limbs for the rest of us. And some of the people you served with didn't come back. And we're sitting here complaining on the internet about America losing its way, and we're letting you down. We are not honoring your sacrifice right now. And I feel so horrible saying it out loud, but it's hard not to think it. And it's hard for me to not wonder what you're thinking as you look at where America's at right now.
I'm very disappointed with that because I went and fought for my country. I went and fought for democracy. And to see my democracy be in danger this way right now, it really does hurt. Because I can't see living in a country that's run by a dictator. That's how I feel.
Simple as that. We got to get to work, especially considering that you are someone who can lay out every detail of a story, and some of your stories have been long. To hear that the answer to that one is very, very simple is eye-opening to me. It's not a complicated answer. It's not a complicated answer. You didn't fight so that people could be shutting down news organizations and pulling people from television if they question the authorities and sending troops into American streets. I'm not trying to put
that. I can't see that.
I'm not trying to put any words in your mouth, but I sit here and I go, your sacrifice is not far enough away for us to forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And if the one thing we can all agree on is this isn't the America that we want, we gotta all grow up and get to work in a real way, because you're still here and you gave so much. Mm-hmm. What are we doing as a country?
I agree.
I got to tell you, we usually do a thing where I ask you 5 questions from a random list, but my instinct is to say that you have shared so much with us already, and I there's a part of me that just wants to so sincerely thank you for sharing, for sharing some stories that can't be easy to think about and verbalize. And again, to thank you so much for standing up for the rest of us, for sacrificing for the rest of us, for fighting for our democracy in a very real way. My inclination is to say, I don't want to waste your time with these 5 silly questions. I just want to thank you for the time you've given us and for everything you've given us.
I appreciate things very much. And I thought it was important because, yes, I lost my best friend over there in June, and so many others that I met over there. And for our democracy to be in danger this way, it's a shame. You know, I can't see that. And so I hope to God that things do get better.
I just want you to know I hear you loud and clear. I think a lot of people are going to hear that loud and clear. I think it's sobering to hear it from someone who has given in the way you have, and it's sobering, it's eye-opening, it's motivating, and as much as I can, I want to promise you your sacrifices are not in vain, that as much as you gave to me and my generation, I hope that all of us start really finding ways to get to work to give back to you. And I can't thank you enough for calling, and I'm so happy that you took the time, and I can't express enough thanks also to your granddaughter, because you have honored us with these stories today. It really is an honor.
Thank you very much.
To be a place where your stories can go on record. Yeah,
my story. My granddaughter is a very fan of yours. She loves your program.
That's
why I'm here.
I'm so flattered. And for her to be so thoughtful, to say that our little show could be an appropriate place for your stories to be chronicled, that is an honor in every way. And this is one of my favorite conversations we've ever had on this show. And we've had almost 500 conversations. And this is definitely one of my favorite ones. And I don't know why, but I'm actually shaking right now. I'm like sitting here in New Jersey and I'm shaking. And I can't exactly verbalize why, but hearing everything you've had to say, I feel like it really rocked me. Really, really rocked me.
That makes it was. I was shaking before the story started, before the program started.
One of the best storytellers I've ever heard, and everything you've done and everything you've, from the marble through Vietnam through today, you've given so much, and I am so flattered that you trusted us with these stories.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that.
Caller, again, I can't thank you enough for being a part of Beautiful Anonymous. We've been doing this for 9 years, and then every once in a while we have a phone call that goes in a new direction or fills a void we haven't filled before, and I find myself eternally grateful to be able to do this. And I can't say it enough times. I'm glad I was able to say it to you a couple of times during the call. There's no way to thank you enough. There's just no way to thank you enough. And to have a one-on-one conversation that reminds me of that is profound and impactful. Thank you for calling. Thanks to your granddaughter for encouraging you to do so. Thanks for trusting us with your stories. Thanks to all the listeners who have allowed this show to survive over the years to chronicle stories like this. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, of course, to our producer, Andrea Quinn. Thank you to Shellshag for our theme music. Thank you to everybody who listens. Thank you to everybody who signs up at beautifulanonymous.com. Thanks to everybody who supports the show. We have a voicemail line. It's 973-306-4676. The Instagram is Beautiful Anonymous Pod. Join the Facebook group, Beautiful Anonymous, the community. Thanks, everybody.